Hi guys, today I'm out in a 1976 sans permis. It's Snuggy, you may know it as. Now, if you know anything about Europe and French culture, you may know these were given to younger drivers, they were given to drink drivers, and yeah, this is one of only 3 in the UK. So that's super exciting. I'm really excited to take you out today. It won't be a speedy drive because, as you've probably gathered already, it's not the fastest car in the world, but I can guarantee it's going to be one of the most fun. So buckle up, despite the fact we have no seat belts in the car, because we're about to take out a very special little French car. So you may have noticed I called this a French car, and I'm going to have to instantly correct myself because although it's always been seen as one of those cars that was quite iconic in France, or you've certainly heard about it, you've certainly heard about people saying, oh God, you know those cars they give drunk drivers. So I automatically thought this was French. Now I'm completely wrong, unfortunately it is Italian. So originally the design was by a company called, and apologies if my pronunciation is slightly off, Auto Zodiaco, which was an Italian company who built dune buggies in the 70s, which were based on Beetles. And in the early 70s, they sold the rights and all the design to All Cars SRL of Italy. And this is where the Snuggy comes from. So it's called a Charlie, it's called a Snuggy, it's called a Microcar, it's called a sans permis. It's known as lots of different things to lots of different people. And it's got 49cc motorbike engine in. And most of their 3-wheelers were sold in France, hence probably why I thought this was a French car. And the reason it's called sans permis, and we do talk about this throughout the video, is sans permis translates as pretty much literally without license. So it meant that you could be a 14-year-old, it meant you could be someone who'd lost their license through drink driving. It meant that driving, despite a very snail pace, was accessible to lots of people. Now, this is probably going to be one of my most fun videos, so you're going to see lots of different things like outtakes and funny little things that we do during this video, because I thought for such a fun, quirky little car, I'd change my video approach slightly and make it a little bit different. So we've got a few outtakes, I'm going to show you some of the things that have gone wrong, just because I thought I wanted to do a slightly different approach of this because it's quite fun. So let's crack on and have a good look around this car before we head out and test drive her. If you're wondering what we're staring down into, we're staring down into the engine bay, which, let me see if I can find the cover. It's moved. Right, so essentially everything that you need to reach is down there. Or you come round here, let me show you. You come round and you access it down here. So a very different approach to what we're used to. And it's a bit of a weird engine bay situation. But yeah, I'm kind of impressed, and I'm also kind of astounded really that everything is here. And I mean, it's pretty much just a go-kart engine, and you can even take bits off lawnmowers to fix these. So all in all, a very interesting test drive. So let's show you another little funny feature on the car. Now, you know that I love showing you guys little quirks on cars when we go out. So have a look at this. So this is where you put your brake fluid in. So I've been reliably informed by Harriet the driver that when you have a particularly horrendous downpour, you do end up having to change the brake fluid because all water gets inside because there's no actual seal. So yeah, it's a bit of an interesting car, this one. Now, Harriet, the owner of this amazing 3-wheeler little car, said to me, do you know that it's so light that you can lift it up? So here's a demonstration for you of how light this car is. I feel like we're on one of those world's strongest competitions. I mean, look at this. Lifted straight off the ground. This has never been done on one of my little road tests before, but we're going to take her out now and we're going to see what she's like on the road. Warning, she's very loud, so I think what we'll probably do is I'll show you how the engine sounds, and then we'll probably just voice over some of the video that you're going to hear today. Anyway, let's head out because I think this is going to be quite exciting. Before we go, I'm just going to show you something that Harriet showed me. This is how you open the door. She said if you tilt it down like that, you'll end up breaking the door. So if you are ever a passenger in one of these, you are now equipped with knowing how to open the doors. So I think we've had enough suspense. Let's start this car up and see how she sounds. Now I'm going to give you guys a better view of what it looks like when I'm sat behind the steering wheel, which, as you can see, is kind of centre of the vehicle really. But I wanted to give you a bit of a sneak peek before we hop in, so you can see how it's laid out. just how much room we've got, which is roughly 2 adults. And then in the back, you've just got a little bit of room to put your shopping. Now, as you can see, the windows there are tilted, and as I've kind of already mentioned, they are tilted so that the wind goes into where the engine is over here, so that the engine doesn't overheat. No worries about the driver, they'll just have to overheat. So now that we've done that, I'm going to pop behind the steering wheel so you can get a better view of what I'm seeing. As I sit in this mad little 3-wheel car, I really wanted to show you what I could see as the driver, because I could kind of spin you around in here as I usually would with a car, but there's really not that much room. In fact, it feels like, I mean, can you see that? The windscreen's kind of tilted away from me. The windows are angled so that they keep the engine cool, not the driver. So all in all, it's very hot in here, very, very hot. And to say that it's not even the hottest day of the year or even close to it, it must be absolutely boiling in here. Now let me show you some of the controls. So these weren't fitted with a dash as standard, so I'm going to show you some of the accessories that Harriet and previous owners have put on. So you've got your indicators up here, which look a bit like that Austin A35 indicator that we saw the other day. You've got your horn here, so great, it's not working. And then you've got your hazard warning lights, and you've got your dials here. So I'm just going to come in there and show you. So it's all in kilometres because it is a car that's been imported. So for those of you that are watching from abroad, we in the UK tend to run on miles per hour, whereas Europe tend to run on kilometres. But strangely, there are also some miles per hour shown on there. You've got your fuel gauge, so handy enough. You've got your lights there, and you've got your indicators. So all in all, it's pretty up together. This is your heater just here. I'm going to come out again. So that's your heater just there, and you've also got an air vent there, which, trust me, there's not much going on. It's quite hot, and that is how close we are. Look at this. Let me show you. That is how there is definitely not much room next to me. And then down here, this is where it starts getting confusing. So you see the one to the left here? That is, that's part of your driving setup. So it's down to the floor. That pretty much means drive. Pull it up. It doesn't really do anything. And then right back, and that pulls you into reverse. And then the one on the right here, that is your handbrake. So these are all our controls that we're going to have today. As you can see, it's quite Spartan, but that is one of the joys of cars of kind of the 70s and earlier, is that things are quite basic. So hopefully we'll be able to get her started up, and I can show you exactly how she sounds, and we can take you for a little test drive. Warning, this is going to be quite a sedate test drive because as you've probably already guessed, there's not much speed to this little car, but I think it's still going to be fun regardless. So let's go. Right, we're going to start this up, and it's quite a strange position to be driving from, because the steering wheel feels almost central in the middle of the vehicle, and the key is over here. So let's start it up. So it's foot all the way down on the brake, and foot all the way down on the throttle as well. So let's try again. What are we doing?
Full throttle.
Yeah. Thank you. This is a very strange driving experience for me. I've never done anything like this before. It's very slow. There are 2 of us in the car, and because my friend has come to help me film today, so it's very different. It's very loud. I might put subtitles on it, it's so loud, but I can't even imagine. I mean, they describe this as a punishment for people that have been drink driving, and it's part punishment and part pleasure, because it's quite a silly little drive, but it's also quite funny as well. Like, yeah, I mean, it's slow, but it's funny, and I think sometimes half the pleasure in driving an old car is the silly aspect. So for that, I'll give it 10 out of 10, because it is one of the maddest things I've ever driven. I decided as we drove to use hand signals because I was really panicky actually that people weren't seeing what I was doing, and I think that's the only thing that really detracted from the fun of this drive, is that people just acted like they couldn't see me and were ready to run into me and write me off. And I think that people just need to be a little bit more considerate of who's on the road around them. And you can say what you want about this car, but at the end of the day, it's got as much right to be on the road as any other vehicle. And I think that's the only thing that took away from the drive for me. But the rest of it was pretty good fun actually. And although I felt like I had absolutely no control of the car at any one point, I still really enjoyed it, and I thought that the handling was just so strange. But you know, beggars can't be choosers, and if you were in a situation where you didn't have a car or you didn't have a way about, this would have been a great alternative. Because I mean, I've been overtaken by a few shopping trolleys, but yeah, it's still a laugh. So what I tried to do is, because this car is so astronomically loud, I've decided to split some of this footage. So some of it you'll hear me talking over when I've got home, which will probably look a little bit strange, and some of it I'll try and film as I chat to you as we drive around. So let's head off. I've put the handbrake down. It's I can't get over how different it is to drive. It's so weird. It's like it is like driving on ice. I feel like I've not really got that much control over the car. Whereas when I took out the Reliant, for example, I felt like I had a lot more control over it. And in fact, as we've been going along, we've been getting a lot of attention, because with there only being 3 in the UK, and I'm sure there's plenty more in places like France where they're a big deal, it's making a lot of people smile. And for me, that's one of the things I love about old cars, is that they do make people smile. And I also sometimes love the absolute impracticality of a car, and this feels like the most deeply impractical thing I've ever driven, but I still absolutely love it regardless. It's fun, it's funny, there's quite a lot of, I mean, you can probably see my co-pilot today is jammed right up next to me, but usually, you know, in a car of this size, you would expect there to be no room at all, but you could happily drive you and a friend round, and you've got like a little bit of space in the back to chuck a few groceries. So, you know, I guess if you were in, you know, bits of rural France and you were just, you know, you'd lost your licence and you needed something to get about in, I imagine this was actually quite a good bet. Like, it's alright, it's a bit bizarre, but hey, that's what I wanted to take it out for. I wanted to see how bizarre it actually was, and yeah, it's not disappointed me in the slightest. We don't actually have reverse on this, so I've made my poor friend Ryan push me backwards so that we can get off this car park. Right, do you want to carry on driving? Yes. Come on, jump in. We're going to carry on driving. Right. Take 2. We're going to try again. I think I'm just going to have to avoid small car parks. After our little, oh my God, we don't have reverse incident, we're now somewhere and we're going to have to try and start this ourselves without Harriet's help. As you saw from our first take, it wasn't very successful. So, well, hey, we've started it. Let's go and carry on our journey. I wish I could have used this footage seriously, but it's basically just me laughing for 2 minutes at how much fun I'm having driving this car. And as funny as it's been today, it's not worth doing this video unless I mention that this car meant so much to a lot of people, because if you think about it, there would have been people that couldn't get around, whether that was self-inflicted or not through things like drink driving. And cars like this meant that they could get from A to B with, well, whilst very slow, relative ease. And you know, it's quite an interesting car for that fact alone, and I think today has probably been one of my most fun driving experiences to date. Making this video and driving this Snuggy today has probably been one of my best days of this year. It's been so much fun, and I wanted to show you what this looked like on the road, because I've shown you what it looks like from behind the steering wheel, but look how absolutely amazing it looks on the road. It's brilliant. It looks like a little toy, and it's just been such a fantastic day, and driving this has really put a smile on my face. And I think that, yeah, you might not get to Tesco very quickly or do whatever you need to do very quickly, but it's a funny car, it's hilarious to drive, and it looks absolutely smashing on the roads. Can't think of anything better.
So this is a sans permis car. It was built purely for young people who were too young to drive, but the scheme never really took off. You know, most young people couldn't afford one. And so the government took over the scheme and, you know, sold them to people who had lost their licence for drunk driving or messing around or something. And so if you were a boss of a big company and you'd been messing around on your licence and had to show up to work in one of these, it'd be quite an embarrassment. Driving experience so far is scary. I have to take this on a motorway to get to work, and it does about 20 with one person because it's only a 50cc. I probably wouldn't recommend it because it's so rare, parts are hard to come by, and it's too slow for modern traffic. It doesn't accelerate very fast at all. Right, I bought this Sans Permis All Cars Snuggy about a month ago. I was looking at Trabants at first because I love the concept of two-stroke cars. It's just amuses me that you put a motorbike engine in a car. I was looking at Trabants, and the nearest one for my budget was in Scotland, and I'm quite down south, so it was a bit pointless going all the way up there. And this came up, it had just been imported in Hertfordshire for around my budget, and you're not going to see another one. This is one of 3 in the UK, so, you know, we went and picked this up, and been daily driving it really the whole month.
And guys, that concludes my review of this amazing Snuggy Sans Permis car from 1976. And can you believe we've had the treat of a lifetime, because this is the only one on the roads in Great Britain. The other 2 are hidden away in museums, getting all dusty and being forgotten. So I really think we've had an amazing day today testing out this little car. We didn't go very fast, and we certainly didn't go very far, but we have had an absolutely hilarious time. So if you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed making it, don't forget to hit like, and of course new classic car videos go up every Wednesday and every Sunday, so don't forget to hit subscribe too. Now until next time, take care and drive safely.